Okay, we are live now. Samanvi, you can start the proceedings, please. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to the next session of Young Indian Theosophists, full of reading, new learning, and a fruitful discussion. We have already read the first two chapters from the book I Promise. Chapter 1 was Bright Looks, and Chapter 2 was Brave Words. We are going to read the third chapter of I Promise by C. Jinaraj Das, Joyous Thoughts. We will be learning what this means from Brother Varunji. So let us first begin by a moment of silence. We will meditate for 1 minute. Let us now speak the universal prayer together. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. Now I shall introduce the speaker for today. Brother Varunji has done masters in mechanical engineering. He is an active member of Bangalore City Lodge of Karnataka Theosophical Federation. Being the third generation in his family of theosophists, Brother Varunji was introduced to theosophy by his family, his grandparents being the initial members. He participated in youth conference organized in Adyar in the year of 2018 and 2019. Let us welcome Brother Varunji for today's session. Over to Varunji now.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Saman. It was wonderful. I think she did not have any.
Thank you.
Apart from getting across those 5-6 sentences, no other thoughts. Initially, maybe she had many thoughts, but when she could do it, she was very, only those 4-5 sentences, she was committed to deliver as it was written down in a piece of paper. Thank you very much. Yeah, as today we'll be saying about the third qualification, that is joyous thoughts. Before we start up, I'll just summarize what happened in the last previous two sessions. I think this session is being given by C. Jinarajasa to a group of young people. We don't know exactly. He always mentions as a group of boys. Maybe they may be in a teenage group, maybe around 16 to 20 years of age. So he's trying to give out few qualifications. At that younger age, there are certain qualities that everybody has to develop, right? When we develop certain set of qualities, and he constantly keeps telling us that there are masters and there are gods who will come to help you, who will work through you in bringing they have certain objectives, right? So, and they cannot come and help everybody. So they can help only those people who have certain qualities, who have developed, reached to a certain level, so that they can work through us in bringing out those whatever things that they have to do in this world for the betterment of this world. So in this process, he sets up maybe 4 qualifications. The first is the bright looks, then came the brave words. Now we'll look at the joyous thoughts. See, in this world, if you look at it, there are only 2 things. So one is you, and the second is other than you. So anything else apart from you is that other than you. So we are in constant relationship. So one is you, second one is other than you. Other than you may be anything. It may be your family, friend, animal, birds, whatever is there around you is other than you. So we are in a constant relationship. And when we are in a constant relationship, there are certain things that there are certain ways we communicate, or there are so many things that there is an interaction between you and the other than you. So when this happens, there will be a lot of things that happens. So we can develop our own qualities in this relationship. So how and what are those qualities? So that is what is trying to stress. The first thing that he brings about is bright looks. So whatever may be, before you even, it may be unknown person whom you are communicating with. The first thing that you bring in front of them is your attitude. What kind of body language that you bring about, what kind of whether you have a calm facial expression, or what kind of expressions you have with your body, with your physical body. So that is the first thing that comes up in any relationship, even before you speak, even before you talk. This is one thing that always comes up. So what kind of an attitude, what kind of image that you're trying to bring in. So that we covered it in bright looks. So then comes the actual communication. So what kind of words person will come to know about us by what kind of words we are using. How are we communicating? Are we communicating in a positive way? Are we having the right attitude in communication? So this is the next level of things. So that it covers up in the brave words. What kind of beautiful words we use? What are the brave words that we use to communicate? So what are the qualities that we need to develop in order to have a good communication with everybody, which uplifts everybody? So that was covered in the brave words. Now comes the joyous thoughts. What do we generally speak? We generally speak what's there in our mind, right? And it's very difficult to find out for somebody what's there inside, what is the actual intention, what are the thoughts, what are the actual intentions of those thoughts, etc. And these thoughts are it's very tricky. It's not so easy to understand as we are. So we'll try to understand what are the qualities that we are trying to develop. What is joy, what is happiness, and how do we actually bring out that joy which is within us. Okay, these are the things that we'll be looking at today. And as he starts off, I'll not read every line. Content is more, so I'll read the important part, but I'll try to cover as much as possible. Like how Brother Shikharji did last time. He had slides. Maybe if I add 1 or 2 slides, it would have helped. But anyway, I'll try to cover. As he has been mentioning, he starts off with the Lord Maitreya example. He says, in him there is no darkness at all, but men turn their backs on his light and then walk in their own shadows, crying out that it is dark. As it is being mentioned in all the previous 2 chapters also, that he takes that reference of windows. You have to keep your windows clean. If your windows are not clean, whatever the sunshine is coming through you, it gets blocked, right? You will not be allowing that light or that energy to pass through you. So he again starts off this joyous thoughts also telling that, so you have to so there is no darkness in him. So in him is nothing but, you may call it God, or you may call it masters, or you may call it just energy. So whatever it may be. So there is no darkness in him. And the fundamental rule is there, that always the masters or the God are trying to help us out in our own growth, as well as in the growth and development of the environment around us. So that's the fundamental objective. So if we remember this and go ahead, so he's telling, do what is necessary to do. It may be bright looks, it may be brave words, or it may be your thoughts. So what should be a quality of thoughts? So what is joy, etc. So we'll look into it today in detail, and we'll try to understand what it is. So he says, God and masters are always trying to scatter the darkness, so that there may be sunshine and happiness in the lives of men. So it is your duty to help the masters and the God to work through you. So again, it's the same point. It's trying to reiterate the same points. So now, as he's talking about this joyous thoughts to a group of young people, so he says that you must all be full of joy. You must all be full of joy. So the question is, why? Everybody likes to be happy, right? Everybody likes to be happy. Everybody likes to be joyful. Nobody likes to be sad. But unfortunately, when you look at people around us, there is a lot of misery. There's a lot of suffering still. When the intention of everybody is to be happy, then how can there be more suffering, more misery around us, right? Because intention of everybody is to be happy. If that is the case, then we should be happy. Then why are we not happy? Then why are the situations around us, the environment around us is not happy? So we'll try to figure out that. We'll try to figure out that why, how it works, why is it, why that is happening. So he says that you have to be full of joy. Then the immediate question comes, why do we need to be full of joy? And he says it's a simple reason that the masters are full of joy, and you should be a window through which the master looks at the world. So when that happens, so everything automatically you are joyful, because the masters and the gods are working through you. So you have to be joyful so that they can work through you, they can see the world through you, get the things done. So he gives a set of examples. He gives example of Buddha. The first thing that a Buddha does when he wakes up every day is he meditates. He meditates and he gives out that energy to the world, that let everybody be peaceful, let everybody have that love, that joy, that every human being in this world have that love and joy. He gives out that message every day. That is the first thing that he would do. He would meditate and send out that good thoughts to the entire world. No discrimination of any sort. He just gives out that energy, that let everybody be joyful, let everybody be have that loving, caring nature. And the same thing he tells it to his disciples. So wherever you go, you spread this message. You always spread this message of love and thing like that. So then he comes and gives an example about Sri Krishna. So when he is using that flute, so how is that environment, entire environment around? Not only humans, animals, birds, everybody is everything around that is so energetic. It's so joyful, right? So he gives those examples that all these, whatever you may call God or masters, their intention is to they always give out that love, that joy. So it is up to us to find out how we can utilize that. So that is one thing is very prominently trying to reiterate. And he also gives an example of Christ. So we all know that Christ was persecuted, and he gives the same message of joy, but in a different way. He tells he tells it in the form of peace. He uses the word let the peace. I give my peace unto you. So this peace is a very powerful. It's a very powerful. What you call? You can. It has a lot of strength. Peace. Suppose a person is put into an environment where there are 10 people who are giving you happiness. So we are very comfortable, right? We are getting happiness from them. And so we easily gel. We easily gel with those set of people, and we are naturally happy and naturally we are joyful. But suppose we are put in a situation, we are put among person uh, where somebody has hurt us in the past. So naturally, we don't feel so comfortable being in that environment. We feel that somebody has hurt us, and we do not feel that comfortable being in that sort of an environment. So having peace here in this kind of a situation. So what kind of a thinking that changes is, the person who is very peaceful does not think that the person who has hurt me has not actually hurt me. He does not know something. He is ignorant of something, because beyond this physical body, there is something called soul, and that soul has nothing of this sort, like harming others, because that soul comes from one single source of energy, and everybody, all the souls, comes from that single source of energy, and it is beyond all this harming, beyond the selfishness, beyond this cruelty, beyond all that. So if a person is harming you, it means that he is ignorant of something. He does not know something. That's why he's doing it for you. So as a person, you will not get unhappy, or you will not get sad. You will still be happy within you, and you will try to search one good thing. He may have 10 bad qualities, but still, if he is born as a human being, he will still have that one good quality. Even a terrorist, maybe uh, he may be a very harmful person for the society, but still he might have some one good quality in him. So a person who is peaceful, he will try to find out that one good quality, and he'll try to work with him. He'll try to work with him. He'll try to cooperate with him and see how he can work with him to do certain things. So that is the quality of peaceful. It cannot come to any ordinary person. If you have that hateful feeling, you will never think of searching a good quality in that person, right? So that is the quality of peace. So we'll go, as we go ahead, we'll try to see. But these are the three different kinds of examples: Buddha, Sri Krishna, and Christ, that he tries to bring about, and he tries to reiterate that there are always the masters, the gods, whatever you might call, they're always working for you, and it is only up to us to communicate with them, to develop certain qualities so that they can work through us. So this is one thing. He starts off the initial part of the introduction, as he sets this up. This joyous thoughts. So now we'll try to understand what is the difference between joy and happiness. So till now I was using the words joy and happiness in ways such that both give the same meaning, right? Generally, we all tend to use both these words in the understand with the intention that both are same. But we'll try to understand what is happiness. Maybe Samanvi, can you tell me what is happiness?
No. Samanvi, tell him what is happiness. Yeah, Samanvi is here.
Yeah, Samanvi.
What is happiness for you?
Whatever it is, what do you feel happiness?
Being joyful and loud. Can you be loud? Being joyful and
So when are you happy?
by doing good deeds. No, when are you happy?
When are you happy? Generally, in your day-to-day life.
Watching TV, reading books. What gives you happiness? When I'm reading my favorite books.
Yes, yeah. When you have your birthday, you are generally happy, right?
Are you happy or not really?
You're not happy. Okay, generally happiness is something which comes from things which are outsiders, right? When you're reading a book, there's something outside you, right? You're reading a book, that's good, and you're learning a lot of things, and you're happy reading that book because you're learning so many things. So you are generally happy when happiness comes from something which is outside us. Right. Joy is something that comes within us. That's the one main difference. So what comes from outside us is, it may be temporary. You read a book, maybe today you feel happy, and tomorrow you read a better book, so you are happy in some other way. So today you get some gifts on your birthday, you're happy. You play with it for 2-3 days, and then again after 1 week or 2 weeks, again that happiness is not there. Same kind of happiness when you first when you first got that gift, it's not there. So that's the one main difference. So he points out that happiness is something which comes from outside. It may be materialistic or it may be anything, but it comes from outside of you. So then what is joy? So joy is something that comes from within you. So now many questions start coming up. So where is joy? It is hidden somewhere. So how to bring that joy out? It's a big question, right? How do we bring that joy out? Is there any way? Is there any steps to bring that joy outside? Because that is something which we cannot see, and which we cannot see, it's slightly difficult for us to understand. Which we can see, which we can relate easily, it's very easy to understand. But now we understood that joy is something which is within us. So now the immediate question comes that now how to get this joy out? Okay, then he gives a very simple answer. Gina Rajadasa gives a very simple answer that you can get the joy out through helpful thoughts. Just says two words, helpful thoughts. So now then we'll try to understand what is helpful. We'll come to thoughts later. So we'll try to understand what is helpful. So so how can you be helpful? So why I'm asking you is if I can make you understand, I can make all the others understand. Because you are the youngest. So I'm asking you, whatever comes to your mind, nothing is right, wrong. So how can you be helpful to the people around you? So who are the people around you generally?
I am being nice and like helping them doing something that they're having difficulty doing.
Who are the people you
Like my friends, if they have trouble like understanding a subject, and if I help them, it'll make me feel better from within, I guess.
Yeah, as she was telling, everybody can be helpful, but generally we can be helpful initially, at least at the initial stages, we can be helpful to the people around us. So who are the people around us? As she pointed out, it may be our friends, it may be
Our
our family.
families, our friends, and like different kinds of people that we meet.
Yes, yes, yes. So that was what I wanted to extract. Yeah, generally we can be helpful to our family, our friends, our close contacts. Because if we are not helpful to our close contacts, if we are not helpful for our own family,
Then we can't be nice.
definitely it becomes very difficult to be helpful to the society, right? So first we need to be helpful to our family. So how can how can anybody of us can be helpful first for our family? When we start thinking, so we lot of things starts coming up. We start to become proactive, right? So every day there are a lot of things in the house to be done. My mother does so many things in the house. She manages so many things. And how can I be helpful to my mother, or how can I be helpful to my family? How can I? What can I do so that I can make the situation entire things better? It may be just waking up 10 minutes early and helping your mother, or it may be waking up 10 minutes early and watering the plants so that your mother can do some other work, right? She might be cooking, so you wake up just 10 minutes and do some other work. So that's also helpful. Watering plants is also a helpful thing. So when you start thinking in that direction, you automatically start becoming proactive, right? You, before your mom tells you to do something, so you understand that and you start doing things, and by that you are not being normal, right? So I think you are in US, so now you have summer holidays, right? So you have a lot of free time, so you can think, you can make a list of things that how can you help your family, how can you help your friends, how can you help your teachers. So generally, since this is mainly targeted to youngsters, so I was also trying to, he also gives the same sort of examples. How can you help your friends in your school? How can you help your teachers in your school? Because you can help anybody. You can help anybody to uplift and take everyone along with you. So that is what he says. If first is your families, as an youngster, as an you have to develop these qualities, that think in this direction, so that when you will develop certain set of qualities, so that as you grow up, so this set of qualities will help you in serving the society, and this set of qualities will help the masters to work with you, along with you, and it gives a lot of tremendous energy, and it brings out lot of things from within us, which is beyond our thought. There's a lot of joy in that actually. So three things that he mainly focus. So help your family. So then by doing this, the one most important lesson that we learn is cooperate. It's cooperation is not an easy thing to do, because if we are in a family of 4 or 5, each one of us are of different nature. So if we have to work with your sister or your brother or your mom or your dad, you have to understand them, you have to cooperate, you have to see what my mother likes, what my mother dislikes, and you have to plan accordingly, right? So suppose this is a if this becomes complicated within a family, now imagine when you're going out, when you're in the society, there are thousands of people, and there are so many different kinds of natures of people. So if you do not know how to cooperate and work along with them, so it becomes very difficult to help, because we are talking about help now. Because Sri Janaraja Dasa has said how to get joy out of us, so helpful thoughts. So we are talking about help. So unless we do not know how to cooperate with the people around you, so you cannot help, you cannot do anything. So that's one biggest takeaway that he says. So in general, what is the takeaway so far is you just have the spirit of helpfulness. Okay, that spirit of helpfulness should be there in you, that's all. And so wherever there is an helpful thought in the heart, so there is a thought of joy. That is what he says, that is the biggest takeaway. And all joyous thoughts are turned outwards. So initially, as I said, there are only two things, one is you and the other is other than you. So whenever you have this thought of helpfulness, so you are not thinking about yourself anytime, right? So when you've decided you have to help your mom or you help somebody else, so what are you doing? So we are always thinking about the others. You're never thinking about yourself. So the moment your thoughts comes to yourself, so how can I be happy? How can I be successful? Or how can I be something else? So you have to think that it is kind of a danger. So it is, you're becoming more selfish. So when you start thinking more about yourself, it is more about comparing yourself with somebody. So you're dividing. It's a kind of dividing thoughts. And we don't need dividing thoughts. Dividing thoughts are actually negative. So the opposite happens when you're thinking always about others. How can I help others? So when you're not thinking about yourself, so definitely you're not selfish. When you're not selfish, so those things you get rid of, all the negative things you get rid of. And that is one biggest quality of being helpful, of being joyful, that all joyous thoughts is turned outwards. Always when you have a thought full of joy, you are thinking of someone or something to do for another, not for you. So that is one biggest thing that happens when you're doing helpful. Again, we are trying to still understand helpful. So to some extent, we are now able to understand what is being helpful. So first, be helpful to your family. So in doing this, we learn how to cooperate. We learn how to operate with other people. We try to find out what are the good qualities. A person may have 10 bad qualities, but we still find out, we'll still find to try that one good quality and work with them, cooperate and work with them, so that we can help, we can do something using them. So then comes the main thing. So he says that always have a certain number of thoughts, good thoughts, like maybe anybody of whenever we go out and we see a lot of maybe we see beggars in the road, and we cannot solve that issue, right? We cannot say, we may give 5 or 10 rupees and say, okay, it gives some kind of satisfaction for us, but we are definitely not finding out the root cause to eliminate that, right? So whenever you have decided to help somebody, like now we have corona, and we have seen a lot of people helping others their own way. And maybe if you get a thought, like if I get a similar situation, if something similar situation comes up in the future, so what is the best way, what are the best ways that I can do to help others? So it's not an easy task. So when you decide that I'll think in this regard, so you will go and do a lot of research. You will meet people. So what are your experiences helping others? What if there are certain set of people who need food? There are certain set of people who don't need food. They need money. So there are a lot of problems. So what is the best way? So you try to find out solution. You try to interact with people. You try to think on your own. You try to think, read more about that and understand. So always Gene Radha, so he says that always have certain list of things. So what are the things that you want to help to the society? So you make a list of things so that whenever you are free, because you have to do your regular work daily, you have to go to school, you have to do your things, you have to prepare for your exams. So apart from all that, when you are free, so always get back to these things, get back to this list and think about that. How can I help? Because when you do that, you're developing certain qualities, and those qualities are very important. So now we'll touch upon what are those three qualities uh, that comes. Now we'll touch upon these thoughts. Now we understood so far about being helpful. So now helpful thoughts. So what should be a quality of your thoughts? So quality of your thoughts should be pure, it should be peaceful, and it should be power. These are the three qualities that it gives: purity, peace, and power. So what is this purity now? Now, how can our thoughts be purified? How can it be purified? So even it was very, very new for me. Jinarada, in fact, he says that this is a very, very old technique which is given in the text, but you may feel it very, very new. And when I read it for the first time, I really felt it is very new for me also. So he says that you can purify your thoughts by admiring beautiful things in nature. So I was like surprised. So admiring beautiful things in nature. So how can it purify my thoughts? So he says, you observe a flower, right? The flower is so beautiful. So if you try to recreate that flower, it's so tough. It's so tough. You may do it in a piece of paper, but that beauty, you will find it very difficult to bring it out when you do it in a paper, right? So we never pay attention generally. We never admire things around us. We never admire the beautiful things in nature. So he says that look at the plants, look at the animals, and try to learn. And there are certain animals. I think there are that helicopter kind of insect, right, which has just two wings. And whenever that comes out, that means that it will not rain for the next 6, 7 hours or 8 hours, right? And that is an indication. And that life of that small insect, it may be just few hours or few days. So why is that God has given that insect so less life? Like it may be like few days or few weeks. And there are snakes, and there are so many animals, and there are in whatever form they are, and still they have the defense mechanism, right? Each animal has their own defense mechanism. They have their own way of protecting themselves from others. So many different techniques, so many different. Actually, it's kind of a technology for them how to like protect themselves. So we never admire. We learn it in zoology or botany, few things only. So how plants exchange oxygen, how the roots work, how the energy is sent from the root to the leaves, etc. So these are the things that we learn, and we forget to admire the nature. We forget to understand. If you and just take one animal, and you try to understand the behavior, what kind of food it eats, what is the life, why it eats that, and you will actually end up spending almost maybe like 7 or 8 months just trying to understand one small animal, and still we may not be able to understand it completely, right? So when you when you start thinking of all the things, admire the things in nature. So what happens is and you, because everything God has created for a reason, right? So it is again the life of God. So he says, because of them is the life of God, and the more you contemplate the life of God, the more you will purify your thoughts. So when you start learning more things, you will become more humble, right? There are so many things that I did not know, that this small animal is able to do so many things which I did not even ever imagine myself before. So when you try to understand them, so your thoughts are getting purified. So like that, purification is, he says, one thing that you admire the things in nature. Try to understand things in nature. By doing so, you will automatically start purifying your thoughts. And so again he gives a lot of examples which I already touched upon. So this is one of the quality, and therefore always try to think of people by their better nature. Again, as I said in the previous example, that it's very difficult for somebody to be in the environment that when somebody has hurt you, when that person comes, and it's very difficult for us to find peace with that kind of a person. We find very uncomfortable in. So he says the second quality, when he talks about the second quality, you have to be peaceful. So again, we touched upon this peaceful part of it earlier. So he gives an example of a rock in a sea. It the waves keep hitting years and years from so many years, and yet that rock stands still. It stands peaceful, right? It stands with so much of grit and with so much of determination. It stands there. So he takes that example of being peaceful. He tries to relate that being of that rock and telling that you be peaceful. So what happens again when you are a peaceful person in general? If you look at around, if you look around your own family or your own friends, if there are a set of 10 people, definitely there will be one person who is slightly peaceful than the rest of the nine. So you would find out this one particular quality in him. As I said earlier, if you are peaceful, so you will definitely have better relationship with everybody around you. It doesn't matter to him whether the person has hurt him or the person has bad intention towards him. All that doesn't matter. It is all coming from outside of him. So he knows internally that there is some one good quality, and I will identify that one good quality in that person, and I will work through that quality, and I will work through him to get things done, whatever it may be. So this is one quality that you always find in a person who is peaceful. So same thing, that cooperation, what I was mentioning earlier, that word, that cooperation, that quality will be the highest in a person who is very peaceful. It cannot come to everybody. It's definitely very, very difficult to come to everybody. So again, he reiterates that quality. And the third thing is, so automatically when your thoughts are purified and when you are a when you are a person who is very peaceful, so automatically there is a power for you to help others. So again, I'll go back because we are talking about helpful thoughts. So we understood helpful, now we are understanding thoughts. So when our thoughts are purified, when we are peaceful in general, so we always get the power of the masters. Again, we go back to that initial thing where we started. So the masters are always there to help through us. So what they will not help everybody, right? So you should have these qualities. So you need to develop as a person at an younger age. You need to develop these qualities so that when you grow up, when you are actually exposed to the society, so you will learn how to help them. So these are the three qualities that he touches upon, and he always says that if you can get people to cooperate with you in a helpful work which you want to do for the world, you will find that you will grow in peace. So that is one thing again he reiterates, and he gives again a lot of examples. If you go to a Buddhist temple, right, they'll have a bowl of flowers, and they'll take that bowl of flowers to everybody. So everybody will touch without any discrimination. A person may be poor, he may not be able to even buy flowers, but even to everybody touches it and blesses, or they kind of give their blessings, they give their energy to that, and finally they all take and give that bowl of flowers to the god, right? So that is one example he tries to bring about, that you work with everybody, poor or rich or good or bad. So you work with everybody. So that is the thing he says. A person may have all kinds of foolings and perhaps only one good quality. As pupils of master, so you will work with that one good quality. So these are the three things that he touches upon. So so once we have these qualities, that purity, that peaceful, So automatically we'll get that power to help. And that helpful, again, it's when we're talking about helpful, it is in the positive way. How can you help positively the society, the environment around you? So you need to prepare yourself now to come to that joy. So it is that method of preparation that I am speaking to you today. He says, so do not turn your backs on the light and walk it in your own and walk in your own shadows. So do your utmost to keep your face to the light. Think thoughts of beauty, power, and peace to all men. So this is the way to come out with that deep hidden joy. So I'll just read out the last particular paragraph. So there is for each one of you a very great joy to come to you through your sunshine, to you through your love, to you through your strength. As you become better pupils of the master, so you will discover that there has been kept for you a wonderful thing of joy. What that joy is, which is waiting for each of you, that thing which comes bubbling up with strength and beauty, I do not know. The master knows. And you will know in your own good time, but you can prepare now to come to that joy. It is of that method of preparation that I am speaking to you today. Do not turn your backs to the light and walk in your own shadows. Do your utmost to keep your face to the light. Think thoughts of beauty, power, and peace to all men. This is the way to come to that deep hidden joy which God has kept for us, uh, you throughout the ages. So then make this promise to yourself each day. Holy Master, Father, and friend, I promise to think joyous thoughts for men's sake in thy name. So this is how it tries to end. So if I have to summarize the whole thing, so initially what we did, we tried to understand what is joy, what is happiness. So we understood happiness is something that comes from outside. Joy is something which is within us. So how to bring out something that is within us? So what are the steps? Is there any procedure? Is there anything that we can do? So then came the answer that helpful thoughts. So with this helpful thoughts, we can bring out that joy which is hidden within us. It is hidden in every human being, good or bad. It is always there. So it is only how we respond, how we try to connect with the master, how higher energies, and try to bring this joy outside us. So the helpful thoughts, again, we spoke about helpful. How can we be helpful initially? So be helpful to your family, be helpful for your close friends, relatives, to the people around you first, because if we cannot be helpful to people around us, so definitely we cannot be helpful to the society in a bigger nature. So then we try to understand thoughts, the three qualities. So what are those three qualities? So how do we develop those three qualities? How do we purify our thoughts? What is the qualities of being peaceful? So these are all the things we try to understand. I think I think I've whatever I had to convey, I've done it. I think we can open it for discussions. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Varun, for a wonderful session, wonderful reading, and also a very good way of interaction with our newcomer. Samanvi, you did a good job by opening the meeting.
Manvi, did you understand everything? How can you be helpful?
Yes.
You have understood, everybody has understood. Yes. So you can make a list then. How can you be helpful? So always, whenever you are free, you make a list of things. How can you be helpful to your family and your society, whatever crisis, whatever thing happens? So you can make, because you cannot decide, because helping somebody, deciding how to help, or you cannot do it in a short time, right? If you have to really help somebody, you need a lot of preparation for that. So now maybe you can, maybe if you have any doubts you can ask, or definitely you can ask your mother.
Yes, that's exactly. If someone has any doubts, maybe even though you understood everything, but still you might have some doubts. So please shoot the questions.
Yes.
This was really nice to hear out Samanvi, and the way she did it very peacefully. As Brother Varun said, She didn't have any thoughts other than what she wants to speak. Very focused, a very good anchoring she did. Clap for her. And as Brother Varun
Thank you.
touched upon things which a child can understand. If a child's mind can capture, anyone can capture. That was the simplicity of the talk I really liked. And while you were talking to Samanvi on day-to-day helping and all, two incidents which I personally experienced came to me. I'm a mom, so most of the times my daughter gives me some incidents to learn and pick up things from daily life. I remember when she was in class one. For you, grade one, Samanvi, where your grade one is class one or standard one in India. One day she came from school and she opened a box and she had shown me her eraser. Half of the eraser she showed me, and she was saying, I have given the other half to somebody. I said, how did you cut it? Interesting part is, how can a child who doesn't have anything to cut a eraser? She said there was one child, Raj Aryan, in my class who did not bring an eraser, and teacher just asked things to do and all, and he was panicking and nobody had separate erasers. So one thought came to her mind to cut that single eraser into halves using a scale, and it's actually using a scale to cut it is very वो टेढ़ा मेढ़ा बन के होता है, but she did it because she wanted to do it. So it is not about how nice it will happen. That was very, it was like a जैसे होता है ना, काट देने से, ढंग से नहीं काटने से जैसे अजीब सा कटता है. So it is not about the अजीब सा cut, it's about the thought that you really want to give it. So using a scale, cutting an eraser is something probably I could not think of as an elder, but a child can think, because the thought is to help. And when she was in class 5, that was more interesting. So I wanted to know, for Samanvi, these stories for you. And she had participated in a sports day, and she was actually in aerobics. And one of her friend, Krishna, was in pom-pom. Pom-pom, the things to cheer up you make. And she had made 2 pom-poms for her friend only, Krishna. And because aerobics, she didn't have to use anything. So she made paper pom-poms, I remember, purple dazzling ones. Then when she went to school, she she was very happy that Krishna would use it and all. But when she came back, she said, Mama, Krishna had brought her 2 own pom-poms, maybe from the market or somewhere, because he could not make it. And when he saw that Pranchi has got some paper pom-poms, the little child, what he did is, when Pranchi gave those pom-poms to him, he threw it in the dustbin. But after a while, his pom-poms tore off and he was very upset. And Pranch was not very happy to see that. So he suggested, why didn't you again go back and, take out those from the dustbin and then use it? At least you can use. These are handmade pom-poms. So while she was narrating the story to me, what I sensed is she did not feel bad, like Krishna threw it. No. So the calmness of the child, the lovingness of the child, when you actually are bothered about to help somebody, you will not get distracted or disturbed that, no, he didn't use mine, why should I go and do it? Because children can think like that. When we grow up now, and when we are not more childlike, we are spoiled. That is my biggest learning in life. I observe people. When we grow up, our joyous thoughts are gone from our mind, our heart.
Yes,
A childlike mind can only have joyous thoughts.
very well said, Muralinaji.
Exactly.
Indeed, we all saw in the human regeneration part also that we lose that freshness and we lose that innocence that we had in our childhood. It's a good example that you gave. So, any more questions that yes, Brother Kirit, yes, please go ahead.
Wonderful, Varun Bhai. You did a wonderful presentation, and you interacted with almost everybody, keeping Samanvi, I suppose, right? Samanvi
Yes.
as the medium. I would like you all, let's say, including children, but you are all the children of humanity. One exercise, and it has some reference with what Varun Bhai suggested. See, there are so many friends, relatives around us. We love them, That's good, spontaneous love, a part of the universal love. Without any reason, we love them, right? But since we are in practical life and to let's say, make it studied in our character, this exercise may help. Write down 3 virtues, 3 things you like in the people you like. 3 virtues. Why do you? Like say, he's good at this, he's a good communicator, or even if I fight with him, he doesn't fight with me. Anything. And 3, avguna. You understand avguna? Which is not virtue. I don't know what is the right word for that in English. Like say, I won't say vices, but something like which you don't like, you know. This will really help you relating with your relatives, with your friends, even with your neighbors and with anybody positively. And I'm not instructing you. I am like say requesting you to help me understand how to really go about this joy thing.
That's a very wonderful question brought by Brother Kirit. I would like to direct to Brother Varun. See, the basic thing is, if we can make list of things that we like in someone whom we know, but if we make list of things that we don't like, then how to go about?
And then be with them despite that.
You know,
See, everybody is the bundle of virtues and vices. I would say, if you talk about me, I'll say I am 80% bad things and 20% good things. Yes. But people like me because they are so good to look at my 20%.
Yes.
Concentrate on that.
There is a very famous saying in the corporate world that I may not like you, but I have to work with you. So in a corporate office, juniors or boss or anyone, there's a very famous saying that I may not like you, but I want to work with you. I should work with you. So if we consider this entire world as a corporate world and we're all working for the master's work, we are doing the job of the masters, or we have to help the masters in doing their work, or to be the channel for their work. We may not like someone, but we have to work with someone. So we can apply that. But still, I would like to direct the question to Brother Varun. Yes.
Yeah, as I said, a person may have, suppose you said 3 qualities. A person may have 10 bad qualities and just 1 good quality. So it is our duty to focus on that 1 good quality only. Because we have to cooperate. If we have to help, we cannot do all alone. We cannot do it alone. Everything we cannot do it alone. Because when we are in a relationship, when we are in a society, so we always have to work with others. So there is only one way to do that, is identify that one thing and cooperate. Cooperate is one biggest word. It's very difficult to, very difficult thing to do. As I said, in a corporate world, as Pradeep was pointing out, maybe in a family, it's very easy for us to cooperate because we know the nature of everybody, because day in, day out, we have seen them from years together. But when you step out to the society, there are thousands of people and so many different natures of people. But in corporate world, or maybe whatever you may call it, so we need to cooperate. Finally, at the end of the day, that is the only thing. So only when you can cooperate, when you can align with that person, only you can get things done. Because everything we cannot do all on our own. So we have to take the help of others in helping others, whatever may be the cause. We cannot say I will alone do that help. It's impossible. If we may do any small help at our own capacity, but beyond, when we are talking about masters helping us, when we are talking about the other energies helping us, it is for a bigger cause, much bigger cause for the society, and that cannot be done by one single person. It has to be a group of people who have to work together. And that will happen only when we have this quality of cooperating, when we have this quality of purity, peace, and this power. So that peace, whenever you, as I said, a person who is peaceful will always have this quality of cooperation. So he may have 10 bad qualities, but he will always focus on that one good quality so that he can work along with that person. So again, we come back to that same point. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he has 10 bad qualities. So our focus, our energies should be channelized in focusing on that one good quality, and how can I work with that person? How can I align myself with that person? It's difficult. I know it's not so easy, but it can be done.
Any more questions? Anybody? I like some newcomers, people who have joined for the first time, to ask some questions and be active. If you can show up your faces by opening up the camera, it will be even more nice, so that we all can get used to see who are all in the group. So if still there are no questions, just let me bring up one small issue to Varun and I think Shikharji, Mansiji, everyone are here. You all can join. See, when we are saying that uh, we need to be helpful to others. Yes, initially it's very easy to say that we need to be helpful wherever there is needy, wherever there is a necessity, that we have to go and help and do whatever we can do. But at the same time, it's very it's really important to say that that help should be without expecting anything back. So if that thought is not reminded at that time, because all the purpose of being helpfulness is to have joyous thoughts. So when that aspect of expectation is not warned in the beginning itself, then that itself will be the reason for all the joyous thoughts to go away and then get the sorrow, and once we expect the help back. So I think we should also say at the same time, in the same line, that you help without expecting anything, without uh, without any intention of returns, so that you sustain that joyous thoughts, and that joyous thoughts will not become sorrow thoughts or sadness when you start expecting the same help back. I think that one point I would like to add here. And I would like to add the second point also, so that the discussion can go around with all of you, that in Sanskrit, I don't know from where they pick up this line, they also say that apatra dhanam mahapapam. So whether it's, giving something or helping someone who is apatra means who doesn't deserve it, means who is not worthy of it. So doing a help or giving something to those who don't deserve or who is not worthy of that help or that thing is mahapapam, is also bad. Maybe not for children, but for little elder generation, I think this also gives a point for discussion. So two things: how to help without expectation, and how to help for only needy and those who deserve. So I would like to start from Varunji.
Yeah, regarding your first point, as I said, there are only two things. So you and other than you. So whenever there is that true thing of helping others, so you're always thinking about others first, and you're never thinking about yourself. So that gets rid of all your selfishness, all your desires. There's no expectation in that. So that is the one thing. It's very difficult, because always we have, especially in the corporate world or whatever you say. So always the first thing comes, uh, why? Why should I help him? Whether it will be useful for me, or this guy did not help me when I was in a similar situation. So why should I help? So the thing comes that now we are thinking about yourself first. So why should I help? So when there is a real help, it is spontaneous. So you are not thinking about you at all. So it is always you are putting the other person in point of focus, and your only intention is to help him. And there is no expectation, nothing expectation that he might help me in future. There is nothing of that sort. So that is one thing. Second thing was that it's very
Helping
difficult.
wanting to deserve.
Right? Selfishness is the most. we may say that we have to get rid of selfishness, but it is not at all a simple thing. It's very, if being in your family, if I have a group of 10 kids, so my importance always goes to my child first. Whatever may be, you may say that you have to see all 10 equally, but it's very difficult to put it into practice. And whenever that is there, you're actually not helping. Not helping. We may be helping, but the effect of that may be just 30%, 40%, 50%, whatever it may be. So second point was second.
Helping those who deserve the help.
Yes, so this is very important. Yes, helping those who deserve. I think that that comes. That's why I was telling out that helping is not helping in a correct way. Helping in a correct way takes a lot of time. So we need to understand how it has to be done. So that's why he's telling always make a list of thoughts. That if you come across a similar situation, so how I am going to help. So whom I am going to target. So if I'm targeting somebody, so what way can I help? Whether I'll help them financially, whether I help them in some other way. So you need to think. We may sometimes spontaneously, suppose as I took the example of a beggar, so we may give him 5 or 10 rupees. So we don't know how it is, whether it is really helping them. He may use that 5 or 10 rupees to go and do whatever thing he wants to do. So that is only, you're giving that 5 or 10 rupees only for your satisfaction, for that moment. Okay, you're just thinking that he will use it in a right way. But are we addressing that real problem? He might use it in some other way. He might use it for some wrong things. So, yes, we have to think. So that's very, very important. So that's why you have to take time, you have to think. That's why it's telling you prepare from a younger age. So when you start preparing yourself, when you start helping people around you, you will learn a lot of things. So you will also learn whom to help, whom to not help. And if you're helping somebody, how to help them, whether financially or whether teaching them lessons or whether doing something other, various ways to help. So you will learn. So that's why he says start learning at a younger age. So that's why he's setting this context right. These four qualifications, he's addressing this to a younger people so that you prepare yourself. These are the qualities. So on the way of preparing, so you learn, you will definitely learn whom to help, whom not to help. I think that's my view. Others can agree.
Shikharji, if you can give some thoughts on this.
Yes, I think I totally agree with you and Brother Varunji that the moment the thought of getting something back in return is there, it is just like the helpful thought is the seed of the joy, Brother Varun said. Similarly, the thought of getting back in return is the seed of suffering. So the moment we have that thought in us, we have already sown the seed to pain or suffering in case it doesn't get fulfilled. And about the deserving and undeserving candidate, I think, okay, that is my personal view to it. Earlier, I also used to think that it has something to do with the person in front we are talking about. But later, with going deep and deep, I think it is, as just Brother Varun said, it is about not about the person who is deserving or not. It is for the person who is there to help to find the best way to help that person, because it is not up to us to decide who is deserving and who is not deserving. Because the sun is giving its light and energy to everyone without discriminating between anyone, between a beggar or a criminal or a sinner or a saint or rain or nature. It doesn't discriminate, and all these are divine actions. So who are we to discriminate that whether this is a deserving candidate, this is no. I think it tells more that we should not give the person wrong advice or something that is not at that stage. Suppose a person is in grade 2 or grade 3 and we start telling him in the name of help, we start teaching him calculus and PhD material. It is not going to help, and he will make some misunderstand it and make some wrong use of that knowledge. So I think a patra means only in the sense you have to find the best way to help that person, that's all. And if his karma doesn't allow to receive that help, we will be stopped by karma. I mean, that is very important question. I think my mother discussed with me that she had a friend, completely bodily disabled. She used to go and help her with all her things. So some old people who were very conventional, they said, you are interfering in her karma. You know, that she has been given put in such situation due to her karma. You shouldn't be helping that. My mom said that no, if her karma doesn't allow this help, I wouldn't be able to go there and help. So we have to look at karma or deserving, not deserving thing from both the side. We will put our help. If that person deserves it, he will receive it. And if not, then it will be taken away. That's my only understanding. In short, thank you.
Yes, so apatra means whether a person deserves or not, which in turn means what Shikharji said, whether that particular help is really required at this stage of that person or not. So the requirement, how much the person requires. So that is what Shikharji is saying. So you find a beggar in the traffic signal, you like to give 10 or 20 rupees or even 200 rupees, or just leave the car for him and go with your 20 rupees in the auto rickshaw to home? No. So what is necessary? Giving that is the meaning of patra. So anyone else would like to join in the discussion of these two things? Samanviji or Mansiji or Tharalji? Tharalji, where is he?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Coming to the subject going on, that I think to help is also a type of an art. You have to analyze how to help. Like Shikaji was saying that sun gives light to everyone, but maybe someone is receiving less light because some clouds have come in between. So sun cannot decide whether the help will reach properly or not. It is dependent on so many other factors. So you have to analyze. Secondly, if you do help with a wish of a return, I think it comes also in a selfishness criteria. It is no more a pure help. And then some few lines came into my mind, so I thought that I would just recite. किसी के काम जो आए उसे इंसान कहते हैं, पराया दर्द जो समझे उसे इंसान कहते हैं, कभी दुख है कभी सुख है, यही जीवन है, जो मुश्किल में भी सबके काम आए उसे इंसान कहते हैं, कोई पसंद हो या नापसंद हो ये तो होता ही रहता है, लेकिन जो नापसंद के भी काम आए उसे इंसान कहते हैं.
Thank you, Tharalji,
Yeah.
for that wonderful poetic lines. Anyone else having any questions? If no questions, I think it's 7:40 a.m. So time for us to close. Varunji, can I close?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let us sit in meditation for about a minute and let us have those joyful thoughts, and let's summarize whatever Varunji and we have discussed, and then we will close the meeting with the closing prayer. ॐ सर्वे वैः सुखिनः सन्तु सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. Thank you so much for everyone for joining. Shikhaji, you can close the meeting.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much.